Hello, everybody. My name is Brandon Smith, and I just celebrated my 42nd birthday last week. But when I was diagnosed with stage 4 melanoma 12 years ago, when I had a mole removed from the back of my neck, I didn't think I was going to see my 31st birthday, let alone my 32nd, when my twins were born. I was first diagnosed with stage 4 melanoma back in November of 2010. And back then, I didn't have any support with my family and friends in the sense that going to appointments and everything. I was doing it all on my own. I don't know if people were busy or whatever, but um, I had the initial tear session with my parents when I walked in from the clinic. But going to the doctors and trying to understand and process all this in my head was very overwhelming back then. And I actually was offered immunotherapy um, back then, but I didn't know anything about it. And so, like, I was scared, and for years, 4 years went by, and all they did was do blood tests to monitor to see if like the cancer has come back. And then after 4 years, I thought I'd beaten cancer. When my twins were about 5 years old, cancer wasn't done. In the fall of 2017, I developed a lump on the back of my head, and I couldn't figure out what it was. I had surgery to open it up, and it turned out that my stage 4 melanoma actually metastases spread all over my body. One of the worst things about hearing that you have cancer is hearing that you have it for a second time, and oh, by the way, it's now spread all over your body. So, um, I went back to my doctor, and I looked at him and I said, you know what? I got to do what I got to do. So I sorry, I'm sure I knew. Never done a webinar before, by the way, so I'm trying to get the points out without forgetting anything. I went back to my doctor, and he was explaining to me all the different immunotherapies, and he did explain to me the BRAF gene tests, um, radiations, and it was still very overwhelming. And the question did come up in one of our appointments of like what kind of timeline we're looking at. And he said conservatively, with what I have, so it'd be 3 to 5 years. So I couldn't imagine my kids being fatherless at the age of 10. So I needed to find every solution possible to make sure that that didn't happen. I talked to my doctor about other treatments in Toronto and clinical trials. And one day I just typed in the Google search melanoma clinical trials in Canada. And like Stephen mentioned before, I did find that website, that's the Canadian Cancer Trials.ca. And once I was on the site, I was able to refine my search to gear towards melanoma. I found this promising trial where they were in the final stages of looking for participants to receive the two immunotherapies together, and that was the ipilimumab and the nivolumab that Dr. Sung was talking about earlier. And I wanted to see if I can do those clinical trials. And when I went to Toronto, they already told me that the trials were already approved, and they were doing that treatment in Windsor for the last 3 months in my hometown. When I talked to the nurses and that at the hospital, they explained to me those side effects that the doctor was talking about earlier when it comes to the dehydration, the diarrhea, and I ended up losing 40 pounds. I was 220 pounds and I went down to like 180. And you were only able to get the treatment 4 times every 3 months with the two drugs together. And at the time, only 30% of the people could tolerate the side effects. They were that bad. But I pushed through it, and I ended up getting all 4 treatments. And it was amazing because after the first treatment, I could feel the lump in my head, and it was starting to wiggle around a little bit. And then by the third treatment, it was completely gone. And that was so encouraging and so fascinating that I could actually see the cancer being eaten or killed by my own body, my own immune system. And I was so hopeful and excited about all of this. Um, so after it's been about 3 years now that I've had those two treatments together, and I am now just on the Nevo. I get the Nevo every 2 weeks. But my doctor is very excited about my results. One of the people that have made it through all 4 treatments, and I was one of the first ones to do it since they only just started it in Windsor. Um, so, sorry. Okay, so my current treatment, my cancer has shrunk down about 60%, and from the way it is now is that it's not going to get better and it's not going to get worse. So I have to admit, when I was first approached by this, I was a little nervous, um, but I am excited about it because one of the things I like to do in my storytelling and writing is to create an image. But how do you create a story and an image when it comes to cancer? The greatest story is my own cancer journey, the story of fear, happiness, anxiety, depression, anger, and questions like, why me? But even if you're just starting your journey or cancer's been part of your life for a while, like mine, just remember, like, you're not alone. So, sorry, I don't have much more.
Thank you so much, Brandon. We so appreciate you being here this evening and sharing your story with us. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time and yeah, just being open and sharing tonight.
Thank you.